हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय चैनल डीजी लर्निंग। आज मैं आपके लिए बीएड के पेपर 1 दैट इज चाइल्डहुड एंड ग्रोइंग अप की नोट्स लेकर के आई हूँ। उसके चाइल्डहुड एंड ग्रोइंग अप जो हमारा सब्जेक्ट है उसकी जो यूनिट 1 है दैट इज अंडरस्टैंडिंग एजुकेशनल साइकोलॉजी एंड चाइल्ड साइकोलॉजी, इसके मैं नोट्स लेकर के आई हूँ। ये नोट्स स्पेशली कोल्हान यूनिवर्सिटी वाले लोग के लिए है। बाकी जो दूसरे यूनिवर्सिटी के है दिल्ली और हरियाणा एंड और सबके सिलेबस मैच करते हैं, थोड़ा बहुत मैच करते हैं, इसीलिए मैं आपको बोल रही हूँ आप अपने सिलेबस से एक बार मैच करवा लेना। देख लीजिएगा कि सारे टॉपिक्स इसके में है या नहीं है। जो नहीं होगा वो आप अरेंज कर लीजिएगा। लेकिन कोल्हान यूनिवर्सिटी वाले लोग के लिए जो भी आपके सिलेबस में है वो सारे टॉपिक्स मैं इस नोट्स में आपको देने वाली हूँ। ठीक है, विदाउट वेस्टिंग टाइम लेट अस स्टार्ट। जो हमारा यूनिट 1 है, यूनिट 1 जो हमारा है इट इज अंडरस्टैंडिंग एजुकेशनल साइकोलॉजी एंड चाइल्ड साइकोलॉजी। ठीक है, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इंट्रोडक्शन, दिस इज अबाउट द एजुकेशनल साइकोलॉजी। पहले हम करने वाले हैं सब कुछ एजुकेशनल साइकोलॉजी के बारे में। ओके, मैं यहाँ पे लिख भी देती हूँ, सॉरी ये थोड़ा सा मैं लिखना भूल गई थी। पहले हम करने वाले हैं अबाउट द एजुकेशनल साइकोलॉजी। ठीक है, so let us start with the introduction of educational psychology. Educational psychology is the branch of psychology concerned with the scientific study of human learning. The study of learning process from both the cognitive and behavioral perspective allows researchers to understand individual difference in intelligence, cognitive development, affect, motivation, self-regulation and self-concept as well as their role in learning. The field of educational psychology relies heavily on quantitative methods, including testing and measurement, to enhance the educational activities related instructional design, classroom management, and assessment, which serve to facilitate learning process in various educational settings across the lifespan. ठीक है, ये था हमारा इंट्रोडक्शन. नाउ कम्स टू द मीनिंग. Okay, the word psychology is derived from two words, that is psyche and logos. Psyche means soul and logos means science. Thus, psychology was first defined as the science of soul. Okay. Educational psychology is that branch of psychology which deals with the application of psychological findings in the field of education. According to Charles E. Skinner in 1958 says that educational psychology is that branch of psychology which deals with teaching and learning. According to the definition by Skinner, educational psychology is psychology applied for improving teaching and learning process. Educational psychology involves the study of how people learn, including topics such as student outcomes, the instructional process, individual differences in learning gifted learners and learning disabilities. According to E.A. Peel, educational psychology is the science of education. Education by all means is an attempt to mold and shape the behavior of the pupil. It aims to produce desirable changes in him for the all-round development of his personality, means of the student's personality. ठीक है? This was the meaning of educational psychology. Now comes to the nature of educational psychology. Okay, so now comes to the nature of educational psychology. Its nature is scientific as it has been accepted that it is a science of education. We can summarize the nature of educational psychology in the following ways. First point, educational psychology is a science. Science is a branch of study concerned with observation of facts and establishment of verifiable general laws. Science employs certain objective methods for the collection of data. It has its objectives of understanding, explaining, predicting, and it's predicting. Predicting. Okay, predicting. And control of facts. Like any other science, educational psychology has also developed objective methods of collection of data. It also aims at understanding, predicting, and controlling human behavior. Okay, now comes to the second point of the nature of educational psychology. Educational psychology is a natural science. An educational psychologist conducts his investigations, gathers his data, and reaches his conclusion in exactly the same manner as physics or the biologist. Now comes to the third point. Educational psychology is a social science. Like the sociologist, anthropologist, economist, and political scientist, the education psychologist studies human being and their sociability. Educational psychology is a positive science. Normative science like logic or ethics deals with the fact as they ought to be. A positive science deals with the fact as they ought to be. A positive science deals with the fact as they are or as they operate. Educational psychology studies the child's behavior as it is, not as it ought to be. So it is a positive science. Okay, now comes to the fifth point. Educational psychology is an applied science. It is the application of the psychological principle in the field of education. By applying the principle and techniques of psychology, it tries to study the behavior and experience of the pupils. As a branch of psychology, it is parallel to any other applied psychology. For example, educational psychology draws heavily facts from such areas as developmental psychology, clinical psychology, abnormal psychology, and social psychology. Okay, so it is an applied science. Next, the last point is educational psychology is a developing or growing science. It is a concerned with new and ever new researches. It is concerned. It is earning yoga. It is concerned with new and ever new researches. As research findings accumulate, educational psychologists get better insight into the child's nature and behavior. So this was the nature of educational psychology, and now we are going to see the importance of educational psychology. Okay, now comes to the importance of educational psychology. So to enrich the teacher with the laws, it's written here educational psychology. Okay. To enrich the teacher with the laws and fundamentals of the theories that explain the educational process and control them, in order to apply them scientifically and objectively in the school environment and classroom, and provide these theories possible suggestions for some problems that may be exposed to the teacher or student during different educational situations. Okay. The most important information and skills provided by educational psychology to the educational staff, inclusion of educational theories and opinions based on personal impressions and inaccurate and subjective observations. Some of these opinions were based on personal experience and subjective viewpoints and often contradicts the foundation facts and theories. Scientists evaluated these theories by subjecting them to scientific research and organized it educationally and thoughtful. Okay, to interact the teaching staff to take advantage of the relevant psychological theories in the process of growth and development. Characteristics that follow the 8 stages in addition to studying the learning motivations, mental skills, intelligence, thinking, remembering, and problem solving to understand the mechanism of learning and teaching appropriate in all these areas. Okay. Last point is to provide the teacher with the foundation of the correct rules and laws of the theories of learning and education, which enables them to choose the application of psychological principles and their suitability to a particular educational position, so that the teacher accesses the appropriate method according to the school environment and psychological characteristics of the teacher and student. Next comes to the scope of educational psychology. The scope of educational psychology is ever growing due to the constantly researchers in this field. The following factors will indicate the scope of educational psychology. First is the learner. The subject matter of educational psychology is needed around the learner. Therefore, the need of knowing the learner and the techniques of knowing him well. The topics include the innate abilities and capacities of the individual differences and their measurement, the overt, covert conscious as well as unconscious behavior of the learner, the characteristics of his growth and development at each stage beginning from childhood to adulthood. Second point is the learning experience. Educational psychology helps in deciding what learning experience and desirable at what age of the and growth and development of the learner so that these experiences can be acquired with a greater ease and satisfaction. Third point is the learning process. After knowing the learner and deciding what learning experiences are to be provided, educational psychology moves on to the laws, principles, and theories of learning. Other items in the learning process are remembering and forgetting, perceiving concept formation, thinking and reasoning, problem solving, transfer of learning, ways and means of effective learning, etc. Okay. Now, next comes to the fourth point, that is learning situation or environment. Here we deal with the environmental factors and learning situations which come midway between the learners and the teacher. Topics like classroom climate and group dynamics, techniques and aids that facilitate learning and evolution, techniques and practices, guidance and counseling, etc., for the smooth functioning of the teaching learning process. Next comes to the fifth point, that is the teacher. The teacher is a potent force in any scheme of teaching and learning process. It discusses the role of the teacher. It emphasizes the need of knowing thyself for a teacher to play his role properly in the process of education. His conflicts, motivation, anxiety, adjustment level of aspiration, etc. It throws light on the essential personality traits, interests, aptitudes, the characteristics of effective teaching, etc., so as to inspire him for becoming a successful teacher. Next is point number 6. It studies human behavior in educational situations. Psychology is the study of behavior, and education deals with the modification of behavior. Hence, educational psychology pervades the whole field of education. It studies the growth and development of the child, how a child passes through the various stages of growth, and what are the characteristics of each stage are included in the study of educational psychology. Next is point number 8. To what extent heredity and environment contribute towards the growth of the individual, and how this knowledge can be made use of for bringing about the optimum development of the child, form as salient features of the scope of educational psychology. Next, that is point number 9, is educational psychology deals with the nature and development of the personality of an individual. In fact, the education has been defined as the all-round development of the personality of an individual. Personality development also implies a well-adjusted personality. Next comes to the point number 10, that is it studies individual differences. Means every individual differs from every other individual. We all know this. It is one of the fundamental facts of human nature which have been brought to light by educational psychology. This one fact has revolutionized the concept and process of education. Next comes to the point number 11. It studies the nature, intelligence, and its measurement. This is of utmost importance for a teacher. It provides guide. The 12th point is it provides guidance and counseling. Education is nothing but providing guidance to the growing child. Okay, all these were about the educational psychology, its definition, its meaning, its nature, scope, and importance. Now we are coming to the child psychology. Okay. So now comes to the introduction of the child psychology. A variety of the psychology of child, if conscientiously and intelligently pursued, provides a rich background of information about children's behavior and psychological growth under a variety of environmental conditions. It provides information and norms of behavior and growth for comparative purposes as well as understanding of basic psychological process and socialization. This was the introduction. Next comes to the meaning. Child psychology as a field is defined as a branch of knowledge concerned with both the nature of development and regulation of significant structural, functional, and behavioral changes occurring in children as they are advanced in age and maturity. It deals with the understanding the development of characteristics of children and the process through which development occurs. In other words, child psychology deals with the understanding of growth and development pattern and the development of various characteristics in children. Next comes to the definition. In the word of Crow and Crow, child psychology is a scientific study of the individual from the parental beginning through the early stage of his adolescent development. In brief, it can be said that child psychology is a positive science which studies the behavior of child in content of his environment, treating the child as an individual. Okay, so now comes to the nature of child psychology. The concept of development supposes that there is a continuity in development. This continuity is lawful and is observed between successive stages of an ongoing growth process, and that properties of earlier phase contributed to the properties of the subsequent phase. Both the hereditary and the environmental facilities contributes to the process of change. There is also reciprocal change between organism and the environment. Child development is a natural science. The child psychologists observe, describe, measure, and relate phenomena as they occur naturally in uncontributed situations. For example, parent-child relationship, assimilation of cultural values, relationship with peer over extended period of time, and under a variety of situations cannot be studied experimentally. Ethically and practically, it is understandable to manipulate emotions, attitudes, and values among children. One cannot ask mothers to deliberately reject her children or reward and like her children according to the instruction in order to study parent-child relationship. It's not possible, है ना? I'm just reading it out, okay, ताकि आपको कोई problem ना हो. Next comes to the importance of child psychology. As a parent, it is very important to understand a child's behavior in order to help them adapt the various situations in life. Child psychology is important for the following reason. First, to understand the child better, to know that some properties have a psychological origin, to establish effective communication between the child and the parent, to gain confidence of the child and of the parent, to teach parents and children the importance of primary and preventive care, to have better treatment planning and interaction with other medical disciplines. The practical importance of child psychology can be illustrated from the point of views of parents, teachers, guidance expert. For example, for parent, it enables them how to keep a record of the growth of the child if they are interested in something or not. They can know what to expect at what age of development, whether the development are taking place appropriately or not, है ना? ये दे कैन नो दैट व्हाट टू एक्सपेक्ट एट व्हाट एज. कभी कभी ऐसा भी होता है ना कि बच्चे छोटे हैं पर पेरेंट्स का उनसे एक्सपेक्टेशंस काफ़ी ज़्यादा रहता है, ठीक है. तो ये सारे चीज़ चाइल्ड साइकोलॉजी करने के बाद में पढ़ने के बाद में ये सब चीज़ नहीं रहता. Okay, next comes to the scope of child psychology. First is the stage of growth and maturation. Stage of growth and maturation. Growth starts for the child within the womb, and therefore psychology takes into account the experiences of the parental condition also. Between the time of birth and the attainment of adolescence, the human passes through the stages of infancy and childhood. The first 6 years of the child's life constitute his infancy, and the rest 6 his childhood. Next point is environmental influences upon development. According to early childhood program, a child lives in a geographical, social, and psychological environment in which its totality influences his behavior patterns. The rate of development occurs. It is the task of child psychology to study all such influences and to find out different types of environments which encourage various types of development in children. Okay, next comes to the interaction between the child and the members of the society. A child spends maximum time of his life with his family, with neighbors, in the playground, and in the college. With neighbors, in the playground means with his peers or friends, and in the college. Any development that he or she undergoes in one or all of these situations is the result of the interaction between the child and the member of the family. neighbors, the children on the playground, and or his colleagues and teachers in college. Obviously अब हम जिनसे interact करते हैं तो हमारा भी तो वैसे ही हो जाता है ना माइंड सेट डेवलपमेंट. हम जिस बोलते हैं ना अ पर्सन इज नोन बाय द कंपनी इज कीप्स, हम लोग वो भी एक ले सकते हैं कि हम जिस इन्वायरमेंट में रहते हैं वैसे ही हमारा भरण पालन पोषण जिस इन्वायरमेंट में होता है हम वैसे ही डेवलप होते हैं, है ना. जिनसे मिलते हैं, जैसे हमारे लोग रहते हैं जिनसे हम मिलते हैं उन्हीं तरह हम भी वैसे ही रहते हैं. नेक्स्ट इज द मेंटल प्रोसेस ऑफ द चाइल्ड. Child psychology makes a minute study of the child's perception, memory, thinking, imagination, learning, association, personality, and other mental functions. The mental functions like the influence of the environments affect them and the individual differences are generated thereby. Individual differences तो रहता ही. Individual differences means what? We all know that we are not alike. हम दोनों ही सेम नहीं है. मैं जो ये वीडियो बना रही हूँ, मैं जो बोल रही हूँ, आप जो इसे देख रहे हो, आप जो सुन रहे हो, आप जो नोट्स नोट डाउन कर रहे हो, क्या हम दोनों सेम होंगे? बहुत सारे डिफरेंसेस होंगे. हमारे पास 2 आंख, 1 नाक, 2 कान है, बट डिफरेंसेस बहुत है. ठीक है, वही है हमारा इंडिविजुअल डिफरेंस. इंडिविजुअल डिफरेंसेस बिटवीन देम इज द लास्ट पॉइंट. Many experiments indicates that all children are not alike. These differences between the children results in major differences in their development and their behavior and can be seen to occur in respect of family, background, economic condition, nationality, special abilities, mental age, personality development, learning, and interest. Okay, so these was the scope of child psychology. अब हम आते हैं इसके conclusion पे. Child psychology studies all aspects of a child's development and behavior. It analyzes the child's effort at knowing, experiencing, and decision making and mental process concerned in such activity. Okay, so now comes to the last point of this unit 1, that is schools of psychology. Unit 1 में हमें 3 main points पढ़ने थे. एजुकेशनल साइकोलॉजी के ऊपर, चाइल्ड साइकोलॉजी के ऊपर, एंड द स्कूल ऑफ साइकोलॉजी दैट इज बिहेवियरिज्म एंड गेस्टॉल थ्योरी. ठीक है, सो गेस्टॉल थ्योरी के बारे और बिहेवियरिज्म के बारे भी हम पढ़ने वाले हैं. एजुकेशनल एंड चाइल्ड साइकोलॉजी वी हैव कंप्लीटेड. ओके, सो लेट अस सी. मैं आपको नोट्स दे रही हूँ तो मैं जस्ट इसे एक बार रीड कर दे रही हूँ. ठीक है, आप लोग देख लीजिए. First comes to the behaviorism. In the 19th century, Charles Darwin published his well-known work, The Origin of Species. Scientists soon realized that humans may differ in many ways from other members of the animal kingdom. They do, at least as far as biological aspects are concerned, share many similarities with them. Studying biological processes in animals could therefore shed some light on the same processes in humans. Scientists interested in psychological process soon followed the trend. Behaviorism studies human behavior in relation to stimuli in the environment. They believe that all the behavior is learned and as such it can be changed. The behavior that is perceived as negative and maladaptive are the ones that are worked on in order to change them. Okay, this was the theory of behaviorism. Next comes to the Gestalt theory. The Gestalt theory was to a great extent propagated by Kohler, Kafka, and Retimer. This theory emphasized higher order cognitive processes in the midst of the behaviorism. Gestalt psychologists argued that we do not experience the world in simple small chunks of information that enter our minds and are later combined into complex ideas. Gestalt theory claimed that we experience the world in meaningful patterns or as an organized whole. Thus, knowledge is organized to solve a problem and therefore we should view learning from the perspective of problem solving. Gestalt theory postulated that knowledge is grouped into elements according to the following principles, that is proximity, similarity, differentiation, closure and simplicity. ठीक है, now let us study about the proximity. This means that we tend to group elements according to their nearness to one another and the pattern that they form. Next comes to the similarity. This implies that we tend to group together items that are similar in some respect. Obviously, by drawing similarities, learners are at the same time drawing distinctions between items. Next comes to the closure, which means that we tend to group items together if they seem to complete some entity. The last point is simplicity. It is a stronger or more adequate patterns tend to dominate weaker patterns in perception. We organize items into simple figures according to the symmetry, regularity, and smoothness if they are dominant. These principles are called the laws of organization and are used in the context of explaining perception and problem solving. This was the Gestalt theory, and we have completed this unit 1 of the childhood and growing up. ठीक है, I hope these notes will help you. मैं यूनिट 2 के नोट्स भी आपके लिए जल्दी ही लेकर के आऊँगी. आप चाहे तो इसको स्क्रीनशॉट लेकर के आप अपने नोट्स में लिख सकते हो, कॉपी कर सकते हो. ये पूरे कुल्हान यूनिवर्सिटी का सेम ही जो टॉपिक्स सिलेबस में दिया गया है वो सारे टॉपिक्स मैंने कवर अप किया है. ठीक है, आप देख के लिख सकते हो. एंड जस्ट बहुत जल्दी मैं यूनिट 2 के भी नोट्स अपलोड करने वाली हूँ. एंड इफ़ यू लाइक दिस वीडियो और अगर आपको मेरी नोट्स पसंद आए हो तो प्लीज़ मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए एंड शेयर दिस नोट्स विथ योर फ्रेंड्स एंड लाइक दिस वीडियो. थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग.